the most translated book on earth after the Bible, and scholars still can't agree on what the first sentence means. 3,000 years still arguing about sentence 1, until a random guy on the internet figured it out in an afternoon. The Tao Te Ching, 5,000 words, written around 400 BC. Its author, a man called Laozi, which just means the old guy. We don't even know his real name. The legend goes, he was a royal librarian, watched his civilization collapsing, decided he was done, climbed on a water buffalo, rode west toward the desert to disappear. The border guard stopped him, said, "You can't leave without writing something down." So he sat, wrote 5,000 characters, handed them over, and was never seen again. Those 5,000 characters have been translated more than almost any text in human history, and almost every translator got a different answer. Here's the opening line: Dao ke Dao, Fei Chang Dao. Every major translation gives you something like, the Tao that can be spoken is not the eternal Tao. Very Zen, very profound, very impossible to be wrong about, which is convenient. Here's what nobody mentions. The word Tao appears twice in that sentence. First time, it's a noun. Second time, it's a verb. Same character, 2 jobs. Classical Chinese does this constantly. So the line isn't, the Tao that can be spoken is not the eternal Tao. The line is, the laws of the universe can be discovered, but any law humans discover will have limits. That's not mysticism, that's a scientific statement. Laozi isn't saying truth is unknowable. He's saying every truth you find is partial. Every rule you write down will break somewhere. Newton's laws, perfect, until you approach the speed of light, then they fail. Einstein's equations, perfect, until you hit the quantum scale, then those fail too. Every rule is true inside a domain. Step outside the domain, the rule breaks. Laozi wrote that in sentence 1, 2,400 years before Newton was born. But Laozi doesn't stop there. He immediately asks something stranger. If every rule has limits, where do things come from in the first place? Why does anything exist as a separate thing at all? Before the Big Bang, if before even means anything, there are no separate things. No space, no time, no particles, no inside, no outside, no hot, no cold, nothing you could point to and say, that. Then something happens, and suddenly there are 2 things where there used to be 1. Laozi calls this the arrival of distinction, and he says that's where everything comes from. Not chance, distinction. The act of one thing becoming 2 things you can tell apart. Male and female, before and after, here and there, alive and dead. Every category you've ever used to understand reality is just a line that got drawn somewhere. And now here's where it gets genuinely strange. You know what else runs entirely on distinctions? Your phone. Every computer ever built runs on one thing. Switches, on or off, 1 or 0. That's it. 1 distinction, 2 states. Stack a billion of those distinctions, and out the other side comes everything. Images, music, language, AI, your entire digital life. A man in ancient China and the engineers at Intel doing the exact same thing, building reality out of stacked distinctions. Laozi just didn't have the silicon. And then he gives you a method. He says, if you want to find a deep law, strip distinctions away. Simplify. Find what's the same underneath. Newton stripped the apple down to a single dot with mass and found gravity. Einstein asked, what if acceleration and gravity are the same thing? Erased the distinction between them and got E equals mc squared. Matter and energy, the same thing seen from different angles. Strip the distinction, find what's underneath. That's the scientific method, written in 400 BC. Now, here's the part that I keep coming back to. The Tao Te Ching spent 3,000 years being misread. Every century, a new group of scholars convinced they finally had it right. Then the next century came and disagreed with everything. But look at what sentence 1 actually says. Any rule humans write down will have limits. Any translation will be partial. Any reading will apply inside one domain and break outside it. Meaning, the monks who misread it in the 3rd century weren't wrong. They were right inside their domain, right for their language, their time, their assumptions. The translators who contradicted them in the 19th century, also not wrong, also right in their domain. The book predicted its own misreading in the opening line before anyone had read the second line. That's either the most arrogant thing ever written or the most accurate. Here's why this book won't leave me alone. We spend most of our lives following rules. Rules about work, rules about relationships, rules about what a good life looks like. And most of them work, for a while, inside a domain, until something shifts, and suddenly the rule that made you successful last year is the thing holding you back this year. Most people, when their rules stop working, think, I need better rules. Laozi says something harder. He says, you are not your rules. The rules are distinctions you've drawn through your life. They're real, they're useful, but they're not you. They're maps, and maps have edges. Maybe, instead of better rules, you need to go further back, to the place that exists before the rules, to the part of you that was there before you started drawing lines. The most translated book on earth, the most misunderstood. Maybe that's the point.